Welcome to the channel. Building overseas doesn't have to be a nightmare. My goal is to help you make that dream a reality. Expect weekly tips on the process of building that dream home and the lifestyle it brings. So check out my videos, subscribe, and share. Thank you.
Okay. Can you guys hear me now? Let me do this. Mic. Okay. Does it sounds good? Okay, thank you. Thank you for the feedback. Appreciate it. Let me get a few shout out. Hajia, thank you. Rivi, thank you. I hope you are doing well. I meant to call you sometime. Sunima, thank you very much. Shira, welcome back. Uh, Elisa Paz, welcome back. It's been a while. Let me see who else in the house. Okay, we're good to go. Appreciate it. All right. And so this topic is an interesting one because uh, I've seen people come to consultation with in trying to get into the real estate, business with either a friend or sometimes boyfriend girlfriend situations. So I'm just going to share with you some of the things that you need to make sure you have in place, and to make sure that it doesn't end up ruining the relationship, the personal relationship, and sometimes the business relationship and stuff. Because sometimes, if you have a strong personal relationship, it can overshadow the business aspect. So these are some of the things that I want you guys to factor in. It's not necessarily a bad idea, but it's things that you have to put in place, and stuff like that. So all right, we're gonna take it. So four things that you have to really think about, right? So you want to get into real estate with a friend, or a romantic partner in that aspect. So I'm looking at it from, if you're married, it's a whole different thing. But this, I'm looking at it like single people, i.e., married or friends. So one of the things you have to do is, for me, this is how I pick my business partners. One is unprecedented level of ethics. Ethics just in a lot of areas of the person. So that to me is the number one. If the person is knowledgeable, is intelligent, is all this thing, but it doesn't have the ethics, definitely I'm not going to do business with them. So ethics for me first. Second one will be they must possess the skill or some experience in that industry to bring the value to the table. The third one would be for me would be incredible work ethic. You don't want a business partner like this that you are doing all the work. You don't want that. And so then the fourth one to me will be somebody that cooperation is very good, because if they have ethics, they have the skills, they have great work ethic, but you guys can't work together, then there's no point, right? And so that is my forecast to you. But some of the questions in terms of the business aspect, what you look for is like, so you let's say you want to go into real estate. Somebody say, let's get into a real estate venture, let's build, and then we can rent or own or something property. The first thing is like, how are you going to divide the ownership, right, and equity into that? So who is going to have the title? Is the title going to be in one person's name? Is it going to be in both of your names, or the number of people's name? If you're going to create a company and do that stuff, I'm not going to talk about that. That is a whole different thing. And so you have to think about how you're going to define the ownership and equity, right? Who owns what and stuff like that. The other thing too is very important is um, how are you going to handle repairs, right? Upgrades and the labor for that kind of stuff, because you have a property, obviously you're going to have some repairs that need to be done. How are you going to deal with that? That becomes very, very important. Thank you, Salif, for joining. Third one is what happens if the relationship or the friendships ends, right? So it's a business relationship. Maybe there's a personal relationship that went to a business. So what happens if that personal relationship ends? So you guys don't want to do a business again? How are you gonna? What is in there that you guys can go your separate ways? Money has a way of sometimes messing up things. And stuff. Or maybe it's the people, sometimes that the money expose certain things, right? So in the fourth one would be, how formal do you want your co-ownership agreement? I think when you're about to put a lot of money together, I don't believe in oral agreement. I think you have to have a contract, a written contract that spells out a lot of things, right? A lot of things that you have to factor in. In the case on unmarried couples, right? And so definitely a written contract is very, very important because with the investment of that size for real estate, you do not want to wing it with pillow talk, right? Pillow talk has its moment and its function. It doesn't really ideally makes good for business decisions and stuff like that when you have all kinds of emotions and okay read between the lines. And also, what happens if if there's a relationship, like a romantic relationship, and it ends? How are you going to separate with a business agreement? People don't do that, and so and um, written contract is the best way I find out to be able to sort out all these things ahead of time. So you want to sort all these things once you vetted, your business partner and know that okay, there's just good, we can make this happen. Then the contract is what is going to. The contract basically is to hold everybody accountable. People are people. It is all good until money comes in, and then somebody else suddenly start saying that they have invested more energy or time into the business and that kinds of stuff. So the contract actually like protects everybody. If you're equal partnerships, right? Um, and so it's like you have to talk about dissolution, so what happens when you separate that kinds of stuff. Usually there's two things that you're going to encounter, right? You're going to have a joint ownership, which in the case, joint ownership will be like 50-50. Or if it's like multiple people, it could be a third, whatever. Everybody get a third and that kind of stuff. In that, so check with your real estate lawyer, okay? Just give you some ideas, some of the things that you should think about. So in that is a joint 50-50, upon, let's say, one of the owners passing away, usually the surviving owner keep that percentage. If you don't own that, then there's a way you have to write it, right? And then it's another one if it's not a joint partnership, which could be some kind of partnership. Let's say you own 60%, I own 40%. Then sometimes, let's say something happens and then I pass away, you have the majority of stake, then maybe the 40% will go to somebody, transfer to my heirs or whatever, whoever I want it to take over. Okay, and so you have to understand that, and so you have to have that in case. Now is very, very important that you have this basic understanding in place on what is going to happen if something changes and one says they don't want to be part of the business anymore. What are the contingencies? What are the things that triggers, right? um And who's going to hold the title, right? It's very, very important, because whoever owns the title actually legally owns the business, can make a lot of decisions. Okay. And so your name must be it. You got to be in there, please. Your name, no matter what, your name has to be on there. Okay. And because there are challenges of when it's a sole ownership on the title, that there's a bunch of risk, that go into place, and stuff like that. So if it's a joint, then make it joint. All my businesses are with people. Mostly I do, we are all equal partners in that. 50-50, and stuff like that. So and so you want to have that, have both our names and the contract bit, just mirrors everything. The only difference is our names in there, but it's just the same. I don't have leverage over them, they don't have leverage over me, and that kinds of stuff. Okay. Let me see a question here. What if your friend wants to do business but doesn't have the same business ideas? um Okay, so they want to do business. They don't have the business, yes. But then also too, can they learn, right? Can they bring value? Do they have the work ethic? Uh, and stuff, because ideas come and go. You don't have, like, for example, I don't have like let's say a ton of IT background and stuff like that. So if you want to go into the business, if we don't partner somebody with that background at least, then maybe can we find somebody that can come in as kind of like joint equity sharing kind of thing and stuff like that. But all these things will have to be documented. So you still have to do your work, the ethics, the work ethic, ability to learn, and also like cooperation, all those things. So that supersedes everything, whether you know they have that knowledge or not. So what if your skills don't complement each other? So if it doesn't complement each other, then obviously it's not going to work, because then you don't really have to have the ideal skills, but is it complementary? If it's not complementary, then it's not important. And also too, I have some friends that are really, really close to me. They're very, very good friends, but we never do business together because it's just not going to work. And so not everybody you are close to is a potential business partner. You have to, when we talk about business, it's a whole type of pedigree, it's a whole different type of mindset, and stuff like that. So not everybody is allowed to that. So you select them, very, very carefully. But if it's not complementary, skill set, then there's no point. How we get if things fall apart? So things fall apart. Okay, good question, good question. And so, for example, that is why in a contract you have to state that, okay, let's say you and I in business, Eve, and then something happens, and then I said that, I don't want to be part of the business. In the contract, hopefully, there's three ways that's going to happen. Okay, something has happened, we've fallen out, and it could be either I don't want the business anymore. You want the business, right? Or we both don't want the business, okay? Or what it is like we've fallen out on a personal basis, but we still want the business, right? And so in that, in the contract, you could say, okay, if something happens to the other partner, it could be first, maybe you have a right to buy them out, right? So you have the right to buy them out, give them the equity at the market rate within 90 days or whatever, some time period, or the person that leaves can transfer their equity or their ownership to a third party, to maybe to their kids or whatever that is. And so you have to have that in there. So if you fall out, it's not that it becomes contention. When you fall out, because with my business partners, we have a clause in there. If something happens to one of us, whether death or anything like that, it's a series of things that should trigger. Basically, that should be followed, right? So that is what it should be. Okay, that's what we should do. So that needs to be spelled out way ahead into the contract, so everybody knows that, okay, this is what it is, and this is what we are going to follow. Other than that, then when you fall out, it becomes all kinds of stuff. You may want something, outside the contract, and that's when people start demanding things that are very unreasonable, because people are hurt, and so they're trying to take the other person's head off. And so spare that out. Say something happens and you don't want into the business, or we decide to walk away for whatever the reasons are. I want to be bought out. That's the first option, or I want to be transferred, or the company has to be sold, or and everybody will sell it, but they get their equity, and that kinds of stuff. So spell that out, and try to be fair. Now the trick sometimes is what happens, if somebody has more equity into the business than you do, that also becomes different. Let's say you put 60,000, or you put 60%. Let's say there is 100,000. The business 100,000. You put 60,000. I put 40,000. So you have 60%. I have 40%. But you still want us to have the 50-50 equity. So then in that case, in the contract, you will basically transfer 10%. So you could say, I transfer 10% of my holdings to me, so that we have equal 50-50%. You have to put that in the contract. Or you can do kind of like a loan or something like that, when loan for the initial investment. uh, Write everything down. Okay, write everything down. So you have to have all that in person. What if your friend's personal life is unstable? If it's unstable, I mean, unless maybe you want to exercise your heart rate and stuff like that. Obviously, if the person is unstable, then business itself has a lot of stress, and so you don't want that. That's what I said. Not everybody is business oriented, because in order for you to succeed in business, you will have to take time from the things that you love. You have to sacrifice family time, resources, sleep, and so not everybody is caught up to do that. So sometimes being friends is just okay. The business is just not a good idea for that fit. Okay, so if the person is unstable, it doesn't help in all aspect of life. Okay, Leslie, thank you. How are you? um do we need a Ghana card? I think eventually I think that's what they are moving towards, that. The Ghana card, yeah, I think is going to be the paramount for everything business, land registrations. I'm hearing things about the land registration stuff, that they will not give you the document back unless you have the Ghana card. I'm going to try to see if that's true. I'm going to see if I can get my land back without that. So I'm going to see. And then once I get an answer, I'll let you guys know. And so I think that's what they are moving towards, to be able to get phone, open banking accounts, and all kinds of stuff. But you see, the world is so big, and there's so many things in advance of technology. A lot of things can be negated, and so and stuff like that. You just have to have the information. Okay, and so we will see, what it is, with the Ghana car situation and stuff like that. Um, but it looks like they is going to, at certain areas, is even more significant priority over even the Ghana passport. So we will see. It's all up in the air. I think by the end of the year, maybe there will be some clarity on what else you do. But I would say having it helps than not having it at the moment. Okay. Correct. I say emotions are important, but emotions are never reliable, and stuff like that. And so, because most of the time, emotional decisions in the short term looks good, but in the long term is disastrous. And so, it's a business, and it's like, I remember one of my close friends, what we wrote our business contract. It took like 2 minutes, because we met with a lawyer, which I have a relationship. I said, listen, we are equal partnership. Make it fair. Don't favor anybody. It's like, and it was just clean. You have to do that. And granted, I think he would probably not dupe me, and he knows probably I wouldn't do that to him. But sometimes it's not your business partner. Your business partner might all of a sudden start dating somebody who get into their ear with a pillow talk, or maybe the spouse of the business partner might start all of a sudden start seeing things. Oh, you put in more time. I think you deserve more, and that kinds of stuff. And some people listen to that. And then all of a sudden, greed is a way of ruining things. All of a sudden, you have this business relationship, and then somebody is coming to the table saying they deserve, 20% more because and that kinds of stuff. So the agreement, listen, if I'm doing a business with an angel, if the almighty creator comes down here and say, Tony, let's do business, we're still gonna do agreement. I mean, it's just the way it is. It's not a personal thing. It's not a trust issue. It's just business. And so that is the way it should be handled. And I think like sometimes people get overexcited too much about a business venture that they forget the details and say, listen, um, you know, things could happen here, and then how do we all protect ourselves, um, and that kind of stuff. And in the course of design the contract, you get to see the other things. You get to see the ulterior motives of people, right? And kinds of stuff. So that will give you a heads up, and stuff like that. So the contract must go before started putting a ton of money. I know sometimes people will start a business first, then they're gonna go do the contract. Now that once you vet each other, it's going to work. You do the contract, then you start pumping money into the business. Okay. What if your friend is type who refuse to follow expert advice when it's needed? Well, it's like hopefully you vetted them. The thing about your friends sometimes is that you have years, if you're paying attention, that you have years to kind of like vet them. Hopefully, like I know all my friends, I know where they stand. I know who I have certain conversations with. I know who I don't have certain conversations with. So hopefully you've done that and stuff, and who can be great business partners and who they just have to be friends. Business is not going to work. So you have to be able, that's where the emotional intelligence comes. You have to be able to separate it. And just because your friend comes to you and say, let's do business, doesn't mean you have to accept it. You don't have to accept it. If you find that it's not a right fit for you, based on uh, various things, right? And so you just have to, you don't sometimes know it's okay, just because it's your person. You don't have to say, let's do it, right? Yeah, so that is also true. Yes, when you have, I always feel like there's a compounding effect by the number of people in there, because the more people you have in a group, there's a potential for all kinds of stuff to come up, and stuff like that. So ideally, you see, ideally is having that experience helps. It really helps. But some people can have experience and be really, really lazy. Because you can see a lot of people with talent, and they can be reading with no work ethic. So I think you still have to vet it, and so some people can really learn too, or maybe there's two in business. One has this unique aspect, but that person can bring a whole lot of complementary set of skills, or maybe the administration aspect, right? So maybe this guy's the technical guy, but this guy also have the administration aspect of coordinating all the other component to make it successful. So you both don't have to have the same technical aspect. Is that the skills that's being brought to the table, is it going to be value? Is it going to be complementary? And if you can do that, and the roles, because at a certain point you have to define the roles in a way, or you can't have two people trying to make the same decision on the same stuff. You're going to have people take care of things and delegate, and people just have that ownership. And as long as they're producing results, you leave them alone. Stuff like that. I don't get on my guys all the time. Some of them, I don't even tell them anything. I say, this is what I want, and they know they'll go deliver, and I don't micromanage. But some of them, I have to be kind of like calling them a little bit and say, hey, you know, did you do this way? So just like that. So the experience, does help. Yes, yes, yeah. So the gut is good. The gut is even inclination, and all the gut is telling you just pay attention. It's saying that there's something you have not figured yet. So pay attention, and money, man. It's like money is a whole different thing. It's like I've seen people like of 20 years of relationships, some relationships, and $1,000 ruin the whole thing, right? And so you have to be really careful. And the certain, if the relationship is so dear to you, at a certain point, sometimes you don't even want to get into a business for it to ruin that. You just keep it as that, and stuff like that. So it has to go beyond that. So the contract is, has to be. Speaking of contract, I'll come to this. Um, Please, um, I know we building, we doing all that stuff. So when we buy the land, okay, we do all that stuff. We get indenture, okay, we get indenture. Um, the indenture. This is what I'm finding out. The land sellers are getting very creative. It looks like they're getting some lawyers involved with indenture, and they're writing this indentures like open, wide open. You can pull like a trailer truck sideways through it, and it is open for all kinds of stuff to come down the pipe. It's bad for you. I've seen some of them, and I've told people, I said, listen, even if they give you the land for free with this indenture, I'm not even going to accept it. So most people, like if your dad, your mom go buy a land, they give an indenture, chances are she probably doesn't understand what is in there, because what people are looking at is the duration, 50 years, 100 years, whatever. That's what they're looking at. But there's a language in there which usually happens in the first paragraph. There's a language from where so and so is selling to you this stuff like that to end of the paragraph. There's some, they put in a bunch of stuff in there that is just opening up to all kinds of fees that's going to come down the road. So have somebody take a look at these indentures for you. Okay. And yes, I do, for personally, I do go back in indenture and I said, nope, I don't want this one. Take this thing out. This is what I want, and stuff like that. And if they come back, they said no, I walk. Walk. I walk all the time. Okay. Because don't put yourself in a bad deal. It may not happen in your lifetime, but your case inherit that, and then some indenture comes over there with some bogus. That's one. Another thing, we are making the mistake is still coming up. When you buy a property, we have to understand, if you're in Europe, in the US, I speak more US. When you buy a property, when you own, the land is included in the purchase price. So if it's $500,000, the land, depending on where you are, can be worth 150,000. So you own everything upright. In Ghana, this is what is happening. People are buying homes, but they don't have title to the land. Okay, and the house is not the most important thing. It's the land, because everything happens on the land. So the land is the most important thing. Okay, so if you own a house, you don't own the land, you put yourself in all kinds of tricky. So if you're gonna go buy some real estate from somebody else, build stuff like that, I'll be more constant. Uh, I'll be more interested into what happens to the land. Do I get the land? What is the cost of the land? When do I get the land? Before I buy. And it can be oral agreement. They must put in writing for you. If it's not writing, trust me, words don't mean squat when it comes to that kind of stuff. Doesn't mean anything. They must put in writing, and they must say that, okay, when you buy the house, the land is included or the land is separate, right? And if it's separate, they must give you the cost. Is it 5,000 CDs? Is it 10,000 CDs? They must put that in there, because what is happening, some of them are doing is they will say, oh, you can give us the money, we'll build a real estate for you, we'll build a building for you. Then after they come back and say, by the way, you need to purchase the land. And you say, I thought it was included. And you go read at the purchase agreement, the land price was not there. So then what if you come back and all of a sudden they jack up the price? Your house is already on the property. What are you going to do? Move it? You can't move those concrete. If you can, let me know so I can move my customer house to another place. Okay, I'm kidding. Right? So it's very, very, very important that you pay attention to those things. So the land documentation is very, very important. Okay. We do look at people, or we do look at that for people, and we advise you go through consultations. Um, and also too, sometimes people want to go buy land. The land stuff, I think probably like we understand all the tricks and how this thing goes more than a lot of people. So we know. And most of the time, when we show up with a client who's looking at a land somewhere, and they contact us to assist them, Most of the time, when we go to 80%, they don't buy because when we start asking questions, everything's fall apart. Okay, so it's very important. Okay, all right. If they can't handle construction, then there's no point in business. Yeah, 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 yes. You have that. How we decide what roles and responsibility for each person is good. Sometimes people may volunteer, so I have unique skills in administration here. I can keep the website, I can keep, I can coordinate stuff like that. So sometimes people volunteer this information. You can, what role in this company do you see yourself being able to contribute at the maximum? And people, and then they have to be accountable, right? They have to be accountable to that and stuff like that. So sometimes you can just ask them, okay? All we discussing boils down to risk, take life itself is no exception. Exactly. Risk, calculated risk, and stuff like that. And also do your homework and calculated risks, it's much better than just reckless, right? And so it's like life, you can't control everything, but there's certain things that you can do. You can learn from other people's mistakes and put yourself in a better situation. Because I feel like when the contract is said and done, we don't worry because even if it falls apart, we know we go back to the contract and see what is in there. So now you can actually go and build the business because it is 50-50 equal partnership. They're not going to jack me for anything. I can't jack them anything. So all the energy must be talked into building. Then we can talk structures here and all. Yes, it's true. Um, my website, okay, my website. You guys know where to find me. So to get on my website is here, right? Consulting Solutions.com. Okay, you can go there, visit our website. From there, you can reach us to all things real estate, how to do business, how to protect yourself, what to look for in your building, what to look for, the land stuff, or how to understand the mentality, what you are doing, and all also factor in the age that you are, and stuff like that. At what point, based on where you are in life and how much money is disposable, you can go on high risk in certain things. Other than that, you might have to go medium risk. Okay. And usually, the older you are, you're getting close to retirement, so you being a little bit strategic in what you don't want to take all your retirement and you want to retire in 4 years and want to go dump it into something that with a bunch of 20 years, 30-year-old people who can recover, who have 35, 40 years to recover if they lose everything. Okay. So did you create your business before you started YouTube? So I started YouTube to about once I finished with my business partner, the real estate. There's other things that I'm doing is now on YouTube, but the real estate aspect is after learning the business, vetting my business partner in the real estate for about 7 years, working and knowing that incredible work ethic. Listen, it's a fact. If my business partner decided, he's retiring from real estate, I'll call it a day. I'll call it a day because personally, I don't think I could work with anybody on that precedented level of we are what in our 10th year or so, and a lot of money has gone through the businesses and the buildings, and there have never been one incident. The dude is just incredible. It's like incredible. So I think I'm lucky. He thinks he's lucky. And stuff like that. So I think it's a perfect fit. I can call him 2 a.m. He can call me 3 a.m. When I want things to be done, it's done. If he needs anything, I got it. It's like it's a perfect match. It can't be any better. It really can't. And so after that, then we went to business and we draw the agreement. And then, but there's other things too, other businesses that I'm still working on that we also did that. So for me, I believe there's a learning curve, right? It's a learning curve, and I don't want to sound ignorant. So I sometimes, before I speak, I'm very thoughtful, what I say. And if I get it wrong, I'll correct it on the next video. And if the whole video needs to be taken down because of bad information, I'll take it down. Doesn't matter what the views are on that video. And so there's a learning curve that you must understand. So I didn't, all of a sudden start YouTube and then boom, I said I'm doing this. No, I was doing YouTube probably like 4.5, 5 years, but then I was building 7 years, 7 years, yeah, 7 years. So, and in that you learn a little bit, learn a little bit and stuff like that. So you learned how to come up with a better product and better service for people to benefit. So I'm still, and I enjoy building myself. So I'm still in there. So I'm active. So I know what is going on. I'm actively buying land, so I know what is going on, and so I share the same sentiment, that people are feeling. Okay, yeah. So you trying to get me in trouble, boss. But and so that's the thing. That's the thing. I don't have any. So in terms of, so this is what I do. I can only speak on what I do. In terms of the partnership business, I don't do family. But if my but I have some family members that are doing their own businesses that I'll support them. I'll give them money. I say, you go do your thing here, and I don't ask for it back uh, um, because it creates problems. So if you can't afford to give it to them, don't loan them. Something I learned long time ago. So and if I don't have it, I'll tell them I don't have it now. Wait, whatever, and stuff like that. But in terms of the business, is strictly non family oriented, no bloodline, and most people that I've got into business with, we've probably had a relationship about 7 years or more. So things have happened for us to judge our character and figure some things out and stuff like that. But it doesn't mean that you couldn't meet somebody 1 or 2 years and come out with stuff like that. But it's not everybody. Maybe you may have 40 friends. Maybe there's one or two people that is going to really work. So and okay, so some people have been able to do business with family members. It has worked, stuff like that. There's other challenges because sometimes you see the businesses we do in that part of the world, it's a little bit different. Like sometimes the family member, once the other person leaves or something happens, maybe somebody dies, the family member can come around and start stipulating all kinds of stuff. That's why the contract becomes really important, because they can come in there and start claiming all kinds of stuff, um, hearsays, that kind of nonsense. And so it's very, very important. So your contract, and so you write a contract, you better keep it very, very safe. Give some to your lawyer. Now, make copies, put them in drives, external drives and stuff like that, and have another person around. So, you have to have all that stuff. Okay. And so it's important. It's really, 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 really important, to do that. All right. Okay. Let me see if we have a few questions, and then we will call it a day. So if you are looking at our, let me see what else. Yeah. So our services, you can check. You can check our website, click on services, and you can see what is it that we have over there. I always think the building guy, you gotta get him. The buying guy, you gotta get him. It's like I'm telling you, is it makes it easier. It makes it easier to build. It makes it easier to plan. It makes it easier for you to save money. It makes it easier for you to basically know what is going on and stuff like that. So, hey, if there's an easy way that is legitimate, I'll take that route. There's no reason of reinventing the wheel if something works, stuff like that. So, but all the same, get your contract in. Make sure you can really work together, stuff like that, and then and then just go and build and grow and try to expand yourself, and stuff like that. So, and if it doesn't work, doesn't mean that the business will never happen. Maybe you got a wrong partner, or hopefully, as long as you are not the wrong partner. Okay, but vet people, and don't make an emotional thing. It's like don't, and it's okay to say no. If a friend said, "Let's go do business," it's okay to no. There's nothing wrong with that. To you ready to do it. Okay. So other than that, keep building, keep building, keep building, keep building. Watch the money a little bit. Get your project in. The cities went up a little bit. So I always pay attention to that. What is happening in Ghana? What is happening to the conversion rate? What is happening in the financial market? How it's going to affect your projects. I'm always looking at that almost daily, and so that means sometimes I push some project. I'm doing a ton of projects. I'm just holding on to the video now, right now, and stuff like that. So keep pushing, and don't relent. And so the sooner you get this thing done, then the more you get to have time to enjoy. Okay, so other than that, that is all I have for you. Let me give a few shout out to you guys. Those that came in, Shira, thank you, Rivi, Ajay, Yima, always. Lisa Paz, thank you again. Philly Delanza, yeah, I know who you are. Eve, thank you, Leslie, Bridget. Um, I think Salif. I think I got everybody. So I appreciate it. So keep working, and then be smart, and then we can do this, man. We Black people, we're resilient, we're great. Our gene is strong, uh, and so there's no limitations on us. We just got to believe that and make it happen. Okay. So reach out to me where I can help you, and then we can make it happen for you. Okay. All right. Thank you. I appreciate you taking the time. All right.